Hi, I'm Jesse Farrell, and I'm the manager here of Hub Comics in Union Square in Somerville. Tonight is the memorial for the founder and owner of Hub Comics, James Welborn, who just passed away just a couple of weeks ago. He built Hub. It was called Hub. Partially because he wanted this to be a place where people could meet, a central place in the community, where people could not just come and get the latest issue of Spider-Man, but really people of all kinds of interests could get together and meet and communicate and become friends. And he really did that. Tonight we've had, there are probably about 40 people in the store right now, but I think we've had over 100 people come in tonight just to remember James and share stories about him. He was a great guy. He had a wonderful sense of humor, and he loved comic books, but he loved the community he built. And that's really what it's all about. There's a phrase that I like to think of. Can I swear on this thing?
Yeah, do that.
There's a phrase I like. There was an artist, I believe it was Rob G, the artist who, he's a comic book artist, did a book called Teenagers from Mars, and his apartment burnt down, and he lost everything, and he went online, and people, within a day, everybody had donated enough money that he was able to get a new apartment, get some new clothes, and he went online and he said, comics fucking matter. And I always think of that, and I think about what kind of community we built here, and we remember James tonight, and we wouldn't be here without him.
In 2009, I met a man by the name of James Welborn here at Hub Comics in Somerville, Mass. It was me, OTO, and Bird. We came and we ran into James after playing cards across over here at Sally O'Brien's. Every Wednesday was a free poker night, so after we all lost, we came to check James out, checked out the comic book store, and then, we ended up being real good friends with James. And I love the fact that he was a dude that owned his own comic book store. Like, he had all his stuff in here. He had his own comic book store. Like, he had a place where he had thousands and thousands of comics, and he got people who were drawn in by comics, all coming here and politic about comics and buy comics. And some people would even come in here to buy comics and come here to talk about comics. And James loved that, man. He was a real cool dude. And I was at the beginning of my documentary series, and I thought it'd be interesting to have a word with James and talk to him about his life in comics and how did he go about getting started with his business and how he went about getting started with Hub Comics. Like, how do you open your own store and follow your dreams like that? So, he said it himself, man. Like, he followed his dreams. Like, he was happy. Like, Hub Comics was his dream. He had confirmations from people in his past that said, "Yo, James, this is what you used to always talk about." And Hub Comics was his dream come true. And we're here just to celebrate his life, his memories. You can see there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people here involved. They came out to support James and have fun and have a good time. That's all.
We come up here, we play cards, and it's in the Union Square area, so around the corner. So me being in the comic books, actually in the comic book shop, came over here. I've been over here once before, but I didn't meet James until I came through like my second or third time. I met Jesse a couple times, and then after I met him, James, the owner of this establishment right here, like, we hit it off immediately. We talked from about comics to beard, our love in like comic books and just other stuff, a whole bunch of other stuff. And most importantly though, I gained a good relationship out of it. A good friend and somebody that I remember forever.
James would love that. This is a party, right? It's kind of like a normal day at Hub Comics. I'm telling you, a normal day at Hub Comics. Look at that. His favorite beer. Hood Light Live. What's up?
Let me show you how you do it. He takes a little, folds it in.
Interesting that I have the same moment. I only met one person Jersey Shore way possible.
Alright, so when I found out I was gonna be a father, I told James. James had given me, he gave me one of these for Isabella. He gave me two. He gave me a onesie. He gave me a t-shirt. He gave me one of this shirt right here because he don't like. I wore it for the beginning of this episode of this little video I did with him. And at the end of the video, he gave me the shirt, so I still got it.
You did the video that was on YouTube, right? The interview with him? That was great. That was really great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. You let him talk about the store and what he was interested in and what he was trying to do here. And that's so you know, mission accomplished as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we did that in 2009.
Yep.
That's a blessing.
And I consider that to be a gift to the community, to all of us, because we can go on YouTube and see him whenever we want to see him. You know, and that's special. That's special.
What's your name?
Frank. Frank's my name. Yeah. And what's your name again? Dante. Yeah.
James got some more friends back there. Yo, you would have loved this party right here.
Sometimes they're really good at motivating students, but they don't just like
Look at that. Garlic rolls. My bad.
Fourth grade math.
Pizza. Excuse me. I don't mind it.
Basis because I do costume design, so like I'm constantly making patterns and like marking out my measurements and like coming up with my survival.
James is a good dude. As you can see, he had love from all ends of Boston, all ends of the area, not just Somerville. You know, because we got people here from Roxbury, we got people here from Hyde Park, people here from all over the place.
Hi, my name is David Marshall. I write and draw comic books, and if you need to find me, just look at inkystories.com. And the reason I'm speaking is to say the interviewer, what's your name again, kid?
Dante Luna.
Dante is a brilliant interviewer. I saw his interview with James Welborn, and the thing I liked about it is that he didn't put himself in it, he just let James talk and talk and talk. And one classic thing interviewer mistakes is trying to put their own personality on the subject as opposed to letting the subject be the star. This kid, Dante, he did the right thing. Look at that, James. If anybody wants to be in this business, look at Dante's interview with James Welborn. That's how it should be done.
Seeing that video online really touched me. I really had compartmentalized his death into a place where I really hadn't dealt with it yet. And seeing that interview made his life here at the comic book store very real to me, and understanding his thinking and him living his dream. And the whole picture of not just comic books, but looking at it as an art and the multiple dimensions and the classic literature, and that was James. It was just about his intellectual side, it was about his dreamer side, and it's big. I mean, he dreamed big. This place is massive, and to see him in his realm, to see him happy, to see him glow, I think that video really captured what James had done, captured why he did it, and the essence of this place and of him, and that meant a lot to me. That truly touched me, and that's when I started to really open up and feel the full force of what we've lost.
I love that interview. I thought that, again, that showed that he said everything about the shop, what's great about it. Not in a way that he was self-aggrandizing. He just talked about what he wanted to build here, and I think he was really successful. And he admits in the thing that he was not the greatest businessman in the world, which anybody who knew him would know is true. He was somebody said earlier to me that he was a dreamer, and this place needed a dreamer to make it happen. He could have been the best businessman in the world. He could have been a millionaire, and that wouldn't have made this place what it is, and it wouldn't have brought all these people together. And I love that interview because it's such a great time capsule of who James is and what he wanted this store to be.
And this comic book store is a complete representation of who James was. The first time I got to see it was actually when I came out after I heard about the accident and him being in the hospital. And I walked in and it was him. To be here with all these people, it's really overwhelming because clearly this was the hub. this was the center of Union Square and a community here that people came to for a sanctuary, for a safe place, a safe haven. Multiple people have told me that when they're sad or depressed, or they just come and just sit and read, and they don't feel pressure to buy anything or do anything. It's just being here and remembering his laugh and his encouragement. And apparently he's a pretty special guy to a lot of people, not just to me and to my family, but he had a whole family here. And this memorial has truly shown us that how important he was to this community and what a loss it is for everyone that came tonight.
Let me ask you, but why do you think it was possible for James to have so much love from so many different ends of the spectrum? And we got people from all over, we got different walks of life, you know what I mean? So it's just like, why do you think James had that kind of love and support from, so many different kind of people? Well, what was it about him? Because you grew up with him, so what was it about him?
We were brought up by my mom that everybody's the same. All of us have different giftings. It may be that somebody else is taller, or someone's shorter, or someone's rounder, but that it doesn't matter. We're all the same. God has made us each individually, and James just had that open arms, love the world view. And I think that comfort level, I've heard from many people that they just came here and he didn't judge them if they were black or white, or if they looked a certain way. And so you see an eclectic group of people that have shaved their head, or they have designs in their in their hair, and to some people that might seem off the wall or different, but to James it was, these are my friends. These are people with spirits and hearts, and he saw people's heart. And I think that's what made him special.
Oh, I've known a lot of these people. Some of us have, because we're all dads in our 40s now, and I remember these guys when we were all young and irresponsible. Now we see each other with kids, we don't know what to say. But yeah, I've been coming to this store almost since it was built. I live right up the street, so I have a neighborhood comic book store for the first time since I was 25 years old, so this place means a lot to me. Yeah, there are cartoonists, there are writers, drawers, but there are people here who come here just because it's a fun place to hang out. They don't even like comic books that much. There are people here who own dogs, and they come by because of Bub. Plenty of people who just love dogs and love kids and just love watching cartoons or NPR or whatever it is that James had. And James just, he built a community. He built a community.
Lauren and Matt, they went and talked to the Massachusetts, the local House of Representatives, basically for his recognition for his invaluable contributions made to the community through Bub's comic. So they left it here and they wanted to make sure that you had gotten it.
I think that says a lot about exactly how this community felt about it.
They said the member of the House of Representatives knew James, and so as soon as he had read about it and knew that all James had done, that he had always donated to the schools, they said, and so when he heard about it, he knew this wasn't an issue at all. He was ready to do it. He was really excited to do it for James. So.
Chris. I used to live right up there. Now I live over there.
I wouldn't like that either.
I don't know, this is my neighborhood comic shop. I never really had one growing up. The comic shop is pretty much the place where people bought magic cards. It smelled like cigarettes, but this is actually a place people want to hang out. And I think that's sort of what James had, which is kind of why. That's the reason why this place has been packed for the last 3 hours of people here for James, And even even the people who came in here, people, you have comic book nerds, you have other random people, you have the neighborhood people and stuff like that. And it's, on some level, it's they all gravitated to James because James was just that kind of guy who would talk to them, he didn't care. Someone came in the store and they were cool, that was it. So.
My name's PJ. I first met James when he was getting ready to open the store and he was looking at the location, and at the time I knew he was a really, really smart guy, and very quickly found out what a giant goofball he was. And that's, I think, how he built the community, because you can't not like a guy like that who can't get out of his own way but manages to build something great anyway. It's really sad because we shouldn't be getting together because of this, but what else can you say? It's it's a great thing to see these many people coming together, some of whom would have anyway, but a lot of us would never have spoken to each other if it wasn't for him. And that's something.
I'm Vivian. I'm a member of the 501st Star Wars costuming group. And I was at Anime Boston a bunch of years back. I moved up to Boston about 4 years ago from New York, and I had no idea about this new city. I had gone into a lot of comic shops, and just none of them were really jiving with me as this is my comic shop. And I was at Anime Boston, and I started talking to Jesse, and he got me so excited to come into Hub, and I did. And immediately, just James is this just glowing energy of hilarity and sometimes immaturity and goofiness, and just he loves everyone that walks in that door, and he's so excited to talk about anything you want to talk about, whether it's comics or Rachel Maddow or beer, you name it, he will talk to you about it, and he will be so happy to do it. And he built this amazing community. When I was doing National Novel Writing Month, he was so excited to have a group of us come in once a week and hang out back here in this little area with our laptops and write our novels. He was like, that's awesome, come in and do it. And then that became Tuesday night game nights, and then they were doing the Disaster Piece Theater with the bad movies, and Hub has always been a comic shop, but it's so much more than just a comic shop because of the community that James built, because he's just this warm, amazing guy who's just full of love for everyone. And the fact that this shop has been overflowing with people here tonight is just such a testament to that. And what he's made here is never going to go away. And hopefully the shop isn't going to go away either.
He was a really upbeat guy himself. Like he always tried to accentuate the positive, even when things were really, really tough. And I really wanted the remembrance of him to be a happy occasion. That I didn't want this to be a mournful occasion. I wanted this to. It was his sister Dara's idea that we should hold it in the shop, which is where James was happiest, which I think is a great idea. And you know, I really wanted people to come and remember James, and people who had never met before to get together and share stories about him. He was a fun guy. He could be a silly dude. He was not afraid to make a fool of himself, and it's just great hearing all people sharing all these stories about the fun they had with him, and he'll really be missed. But I want everybody to take a good feeling away from this, and not be sad that he's gone so much as we are all glad that we knew him.
Shoot the school, homie. I'm just hoping the cops don't put their hands on me.